like attempt, I don't know, 7 on trying to do this video because I have a dog who just constantly decides that he wants to bark and lick his nuts during the recording. So maybe I'm a little aggravated. Maybe I probably shouldn't do the video. Here the fuck I am. Last video, I said I wanted to do a video on excuses. We all have them. We've all used them. We all still use them. It is what it is. But until you kind of get out of your own way and, like, I don't want to say delusional, but halfway delusion, right? When anytime, we'll say fitness, because I'm not going to go into like life type shit because we're a fucking fitness channel. And I'm not qualified to be the guy to tell you you're living your life the wrong fucking way. I'm barely the guy that can tell you you're out of shape, right? Anyway, you have that guy who says, I want to get into shape, or that girl, and I want to lose 30 pounds or 40 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever the case may be. And then you say, okay, what's stopping you? Number one excuse. Number one top excuse. I don't have the time. Can't find the time. I go to work. I come home. I have the kids. I have the wife. I have the dog. I have the cat. I have whatever. I have the in-laws. Whatever. I have this activity after. I have that activity after. And then you start to think like, okay, what do you do for you? Like, what do you do for you? And it's like, oh, well, when all that's done, I read for an hour, or I play the video game for an hour, or just I need an hour of just me, like just sitting, watching TV or whatever, not even have the TV on. It's like, well, there's your time then. There's your time. And I'm not saying like, if you're an avid reader and that's your thing, which is great, I'm not saying give that up. I'm saying there's areas where you could tweak shit to fit what you need in. If health is something that's a main factor for you, and I'm not saying everybody that has to go and work out or everybody that does work out is because they have to. A lot of us just work out because we want to, right? Yeah, I got into it and got started because I had to, but now I love it, and now I do it because still I have to, and two, I just really want to, and I love doing it. But for a lot of people, the real reality is you fucking have to. You have to. And this isn't for the 20-year-old, right? I'm not talking to the 20-year-old who might have the excuse of not going to the gym for that week or whatever. When you're 20, your metabolism's fucking raging. You're fucking high testosterone. That's why when we were 20, you could eat an entire fucking pizza, sit on your ass for a fucking week, and gain 0.2 of a fucking pound, and then go and play, basketball and be down a pound. At 20, you're built different. You're just built different. At 40, you can't do that. And if you do that and you do live that way, eventually, and it does this, I'm not saying that this happens to the person who's 275 pounds. This can happen to the person who's 170 pounds. Eventually, you will stop fucking moving the same. Eventually, you will start getting out of bed and feeling like shit and being that guy whose bones crack and you're creaking and you're fucking oohing and on when you're getting out of bed. And if you're that guy right now, then you know what the fuck I mean. If you're going up 5 steps and you're fucking winded and you're like, Jesus Christ, I wish we didn't have steps. Right? Like, I've been that guy too. Like, you constantly go up and down the steps and you're like, why can't we just have one fucking level and we got to keep going up these fucking steps? Why was I that guy? I was out of shape and annoyed that I had to walk up fucking steps. Anywho, when you get to that point, it really becomes, what's the later quality of life going to be for you? If you're lucky enough to get there, okay? And listen, I get it. I get there's probably people who watch who think, man, I'm not fucking doing all that because I can go outside and get hit by a bus tomorrow. I can go and get cancer tomorrow. Because we all act like going and getting cancer is like you pick it out at the grocery store. Like, I'll take lung cancer. Yeah, I get it. All of those things can happen, okay? I work out every fucking day. I could still die of a heart attack tomorrow. Absolutely. That absolutely happens. But what if I don't, right? What if I do live to 85 and 90? That can happen too. That happens all the time too. So you can't, you could be that guy who just lives it to the fullest, man, until you're on E, until you fucking cash out. But what I'm saying is, even if you do that and you do make it to 70 or 75, what's your quality of life going to be at that point? What's your quality of life? And a lot of people I talk to say the same fucking bullshit. Hey, I made it to 75. I don't fucking care. Like, I'm 70 now. What do I care now? No, you do care. And let me tell you why you care. We all live almost the same way in terms of we're going to work 40 to 50 fucking years. In that time, what are we trying to do? You're trying to find like that stable career or job or whatever. Work that shit for 40, 45, 50 years, which usually blows. In that meantime, what are you and your husband doing? What are you and your wife doing? You're setting up your 401k. You're putting money in the savings. You're doing all of these things for what? For your financial future, right? For one day, you to be 65 or 70 and have enough money to be like, hey, you know what? Let's retire and go move to fucking Florida and play golf for the rest of my life. Maybe that's just me. That is what I want. Anywho, whatever it is that you want to do when you're 70 or 80 or whenever you can actually retire, if you could retire. But that's what we do. We're constantly aware of our financial future and our financial freedoms, and we're constantly doing things and tweaking things and putting things here and moving things there, and to make sure when we're that age, we're going to be okay. But if 90% of us focus on that and do that, and it's the right thing to do, what does that same 90% do or not do while we're doing that? So you're stacking all your fucking money in your 401k and your savings and your yada, 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 but over here you're living like dog shit. What are you really doing? You're stacking a bunch of money for the healthiest person in the relationship or next of kin or whatever. Because if you're living like dog shit and you're 400 fucking pounds and you have zero ambition to even get healthier, you're not going to live a good you're not going to be 75. How many 75-year-olds do you know are 400 pounds? I've met zero. I've met zero in my life who can honestly say they're in their 70s and they're 400 pounds or 300 pounds. I've met zero 300-pound 70-year-old women, men, anything. They don't exist for a fucking reason. You can even be the 150-pound man or woman at 70, never took care of themselves, ran yourself into the ground. Yeah, you worked fucking 50 years and busted your ass doing that and put all this money into your savings, and now you just retired, but you're in and out of the hospital constantly. You're barely fucking mobile. You have that bed that sits in the fucking living room. We all know that bed that sits in the living room, right? To where that's your bed now because you can't even make it up the steps, or you can't walk 40 feet to your bedroom to get into the bed. You just kind of need to be right there. So yeah, that's great that you've saved up, you know, $900,000 in your 401 and all this savings and yada, yada, yada. But now you're 70 and you could barely even go for a fucking walk. If that's in your mind, that's living, fucking right on. Keep on keeping on, I guess. But that's not what I'm going for. And, you know, I see in my neighborhood here, everyone walks nonstop, constantly walking their dogs. They're fucking power walking. They're doing whatever. I have a lady across the street who's, if I had to guess, 75 maybe. This woman, now I see her on almost all of the walks that I take him on. I take him on like 3 walks a day. I see this woman bundle up, and she is out there and she is power walking. She's not just walking to the end of the block or even just around this small block here. She walks around the fucking neighborhood, because me and King walk around the neighborhood, and I might see her right outside my house starting her walk, or I might see her all the way down by the pool and the fucking baseball fields, all the way down there. Daily. A few times a day she does it. She's probably 130 pounds, 140 pounds maybe. 70, 75 years old. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. That's the type of person who refuses to have their bed in their living room. Who, just judging by her house and her overall appearance, she did all the right things with her 401k and all that other shit. to be able to retire and live the way she's living right now, which is probably vacations and yada, yada, yada. And she obviously enjoys her walks. That's what I'm trying to say. If we're so worried about this one over here, then why do we not give a fuck about this one over here? When in reality, the financial freedom over here only works if your fitness and your health is intact over here. They literally will go together, hand in fucking hand. So why worry about one and not the other, like so many of us do? I don't know. That's something you have to ask yourself. It's something that baffles me, and I'm trying to handle the fitness part pretty hardcore at the moment to be able to be 75 and go for a jog, or 75 and still bench and lift and all of these things that if you really like look, there is plenty of people who are in their fucking 70s and they're still jacked and they're still very mobile and they can go on jogs and they're running fucking 5Ks and they're doing all this shit. And then there's a majority who can't even walk anymore. And then the ones who are 400 pounds are in the ground already. So they did all that savings and all of that yada yada for their husband or for their wife or for their kid, or which is cool. You know, set your family up, obviously. You know, if I died, 20 years from now, I'm hoping my wife would be well off and good and all that. But if we both happen to die, then obviously we want our children to be well off and all of that. And I get that. And if you are the guy who's sitting there like, no, it's not just for me, it's for my family as a whole, it's for my kids, it's for then now you're just like, you're making up new excuses. Obviously it's for everyone, obviously, but you're not busting your balls for 50 fucking years to hand all of your money to your son when you're 70. You're just not. You're doing that so at 70 you could say, I fucking put my time in. I put my time in. Now I want to go and relax. I want to go to the fucking Bahamas and sit on the beach and not worry about a fucking thing. And my bank account reflect that. Like, that's what you want. And then when you die, whatever's left over, absolutely, go to your kids, all that. Or if you set things up to, if you're well off enough to set things up for them to go to them, cool. Even better. But your fitness should be first. Because without it, you don't even make it to the second thing. So back to excuses. Time. I don't have time. You make fucking time. You find time. I've used that excuse before. My wife literally tried using that excuse back in July or August when we really stepped it up. That was her excuse. I don't know where I'm going to find the time to do this. And I immediately called her out on her shit, and she immediately backtracked and knew what she just said was bullshit. And that's what I said to her. I said, well, you can't find the time. You can't find a half hour or 45 minutes, but you could sit on the recliner and scroll through TikToks and Facebook and watch 7 hours of Law and Order or whatever. And she just laughed and knew, like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's not about where can I find the time. It's do I even want to put the time in to do it? That's what it comes down to. So when you're thinking about, like, oh my God, do I have a half hour? No, you do. But would you rather lay on the couch for that half hour, which sounds awesome? Or would you just rather go and kick ass for a half hour? The kicking ass for a half hour is what's gonna allow you to lay on the couch at 75, is all I'm saying. You can fucking find time. You just can't. Second excuse that I probably hear more than anything, which is also another one I've used, and I've used this one without ever even, like, researching it or actually doing it myself. Healthy food is way too expensive. I've said that a million fucking times. People still say that today to me. That's false. Healthy food is not too expensive. Now, is there a bunch of branded nonsense out there? Absolutely. That's way too fucking high? Absolutely. You know, if you go and get the so-and-so's fucking kale or whatever, that's $11.99 because it's got the picture of, Chuck Norris on it and his fucking Total Gym, then yeah, you're an idiot. You buy $12 kale, that's exactly the fucking same as the little fucking $4 one. that you could, it's the same. You would have gotten the same fucking nutrients out of it, the same everything out of it. But you went with Total Gym Chuck because Chuck kicks ass. So I get it. So buy that one. That's my point. You don't need the super powered, fucking amazing $18 thing of yogurt when you can get a Yoplait for 78 cents. And it's the same fucking thing. Yeah, it's not going to have the amount of protein that the $18 one has, but it's also not going to have the amount of fat and all the other shit that the $18 one has. So you got to kind of look at all of that. Besides that, what are you really getting? You're going to buy chicken. Get it in bulk if you can. If you have a Sam's Club or a Costco or a whatever, every place has those stores where you can go to and you can buy. I literally just bought one from Sam's last week. I bought a thing of chicken. It cost me $15.50. It fed me the entire week. Not just me and my wife. The entire week. It fed us for $15.50 a week. You can go and get a big thing of fucking broccoli and steam that for a week, 2 weeks, or whatever, for $10 or less. So you can go and get a head of lettuce for $3 and a 5-pound fucking roll of 93.7 lean meat for $20, $30. And you're at $33 to feed you. I mean, a normal person, a 5-pound thing of beef will probably last you 2 weeks. But like someone like me, I'll eat a shit ton of that beef. So it might last me a week. But still, $33. $33 I just spent to make beef patties, wrap them in some fucking lettuce, and eat those. Paired with my chicken, paired with my rice. You can get a big fucking thing of rice for $5. It's not expensive. It's not as expensive as you think. How about make the left instead of making the right into the Wendy's drive-thru, and you're about to go and spend $12 on a meal, but then $15 because you want to biggie size the fucking thing. How about don't do that, and then save that $16 that you were just about to spend there, and go and get something that can feed you for the next 4 fucking days, and it's whole foods and natural foods and not loaded with a bunch of nonsense and bullshit. So don't tell me that you can't afford all this healthy stuff. And it's like, well, I only buy organic. Well, then you're dumb if you only buy organic. That's the other thing. Like, I'm not knocking you if you go and you go and get a bunch of organic shit. But it's like, at the end of the day, look into what organic means compared to not. Because I was that way too. I would buy all this organic fruit and all this fucking shit for literally $5-10 more, just because it said fucking organic on it, because I didn't know any better until I started watching the RFK type videos, and RFK himself, and just talking about, like, organic food still has parasites, organic parasites, and all this other shit in it. At the end of the day, it's like, wash your fucking food anyway. Wash it up, you'll be all right. You can get the $2 blueberries that aren't organic and wash the shit out of them. You're gonna be okay. Don't get the $6 one that's organic, and you're going to wash the shit out of it, and it's going to be exactly the fucking same. So think about that. If you want to get organic, eggs or whatever, that's another thing that people do. Like, I get these eggs because they're free roam. They're free roam chickens, so I get those. Yeah, look into free roam chicken. Look into that, and then come back to this channel and comment on this fucking thing and tell me what you found out about free roaming chickens. And then tell me why it's so much better than not free roaming chickens. So you do that, because I'm not even going to explain to you why. I just want you to actually have to look something up. And don't just look up one article and be like, oh, well, they're free roam. They get to do what they want, because they don't. And then come back and be like, I looked up one article. No, look up fucking numerous ones. Watch whatever you need to watch. Now, I've watched a bunch of videos on this free roaming shit. A bunch of docs and all this other shit. Watch all that, read all that, then come back to this video and tell me why you spend $11 on a dozen of organic eggs when you could have gotten the same fucking eggs for $4. And don't comment on this fucking video showing me eggs that cost, here's 18 eggs for $28. I don't know where you're getting eggs for $4. Every fucking where. Like, stop bitching about all the prices of the groceries when I have never seen $26 fucking eggs. And I buy 2 big things of the 18 eggs, and they're $5 a piece at Garrity's. Don't give me that excuse of the prices of food is too high, because, you know, most of you has voted for the guy that's in now who's supposedly going to slash all those prices, but all the prices are still the same. They're all still affordable. Just don't get the fucking holy fuck bag of fucking Doritos for fucking $8. Put that back and go and get your fucking $5 eggs. That's the real reality. We load up these carts, and then we go and check out, and it's $350 a week, which is pretty normal here. And then we bitch about it. I can't believe I just spent $350 at the grocery store. How am I supposed to live like this? How am I supposed to eat healthy like this? Okay, well, half of that fucking cart was for me on the health stuff, right? That didn't cost that much. And then the other half of that cart, the big bag of fucking Doritos and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch and the chocolate milk and the fucking Twinkies and the brownies and all of that shit that, yeah, I'm not going to eat it. I want to. I'm not going to eat it, but, like, my kids still eat that kind of shit. Which is fine. They're fucking kids. We already did that in another video where I don't pressure them to, like, eat super healthy all the fucking time. If they want to eat like that, they could eat like that. All I did was make them aware of the consequences later in life if you continue to eat like that all through 20s, all through 30s, all through 40s. There's no 400-pound 70-year-olds. So, yeah. So, that's just almost like another excuse, you know. How with this economy can we even afford to live and eat healthy and do all these things? Well, you could afford to go to McDonald's a bunch of times, and you could afford to do all this other shit that you do, and you don't complain about it because it benefits you in the moment. You can't be that guy or girl or whatever. It's like, look the fuck around. Look around. What do you have? Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have nice things? Do you have a car or 2 cars or 3 cars and all this other shit and a steady job, and your kids are healthy and you're trying to get healthy, but how could you in this economy? Like, you gotta fucking wake up a little bit and stop constantly pointing out all the negative shit that surrounds you, when at the end of the day it's like you almost make it up. You almost make it up, or you're watching a bunch of social media, or that shit's the devil anyway. You could think one way and then dive deep down a rabbit hole of social media and completely fucking go the other way. And look, I've done it. I've done this shit. I remember years and years ago where I got deep into the conspiracy theory thing. I blame Ron for that mostly, but it fucking worked. Like, he put me onto it. He's a little fucked up to begin with, so I was on board, and I went deep onto that. And then the next thing you know, I'm telling my wife, like, they're gonna put us in fucking camps, and all our brains are gonna be linked, and they're just gonna shut us out. Like, that shit got crazy. So that can fucking happen. So, I mean, use your own better judgment of... I have an uncle right now who... Right? Great guy, love him. But at the end of the day, my man thinks, like, some crazy shit. Maybe he's right. Maybe I don't want to know, and I don't. Because I can't... At the end of the day, it's like, if all of that is true, I can't fucking stop none of that or control none of that anyway. But you know what I can control? Me, and what the fuck is going on in my own life. Which starts with, like, you know, your finances, which we all do, the 401k, yada, 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 all that bullshit. And then your fucking health. And then your own personal relationships, right? Which, if those other 2 things are getting pretty good intact, the other things kind of fall in, right? Even with the health thing, you know, I got into pretty good shape. Not to where I want to be yet, but I got there. And what happens in your personal life? So then you have people who will come to you every now and then and ask, you know, tips, or, hey, can you help me? And what do? You say you agree to help them, or you don't, whatever. But, you know, I'll give you an example. Not an example. I'll give you what really happened. So back in, like, August, I had a friend, someone I consider a friend, come to me and say, you know, you look great. What can I do? Like, I'm 400 pounds. He was 397 pounds. I'm not going to say his name. But he was concerned, and he should be, and I was as well. He's like, I'm 397 pounds. I'm not moving great. You know, I'm not in great health. What can I do to shed weight and get to a healthy weight and maybe get to 250 and go from there? And he asked my help, and I agreed to help him. So what did I do? I said, you know, give me a week. Give me a week. We'll meet up, and I will have an entire plan for you. So I did. So a week goes by. I write up an entire plan for him, an entire workout plan, an entire meal plan. I put a whole category of foods that he should try and strive to eat, and what their calorie counts are, and how much of it he should eat, and what his weekly intake of calories should be. I know we all look at calories like per day, like, you know, hey, I'm on 1,500 calories per day, but the reality is like your weekly intake of calories, right? Because you could fuck up one day and eat 2,500 calories, and you're supposed to be on 2,000 calorie diet, and then you can make that up throughout the week. So you go week to week. So anyway, I do all these things, and listen, I took the time to do that. It didn't take me 10 fucking minutes to do it, right? It took me a few hours to get his meal plan together and find out what his macros should be and work up a workout plan for him, because his workout plan isn't even close to mine, or isn't even close to the next guy, because no two people are the same. No two people's goals are usually the same. Taking a 400-pound guy, he literally has to do like minimal workouts at first. So I don't have him benching and curling and doing all of these things. So now I got to kind of think outside the box. Now I'm doing research, and I'm watching videos and trying to figure out the best kind of workout for someone that size who's not very mobile, who's kind of in poor health the way it is. You can't just throw them into the fire and think like they'll be successful. So I do all these things. I take the hours and hours that it takes to put his program together for him. And then I reach out to him. And listen, I value my fucking time. I do. I went many fucking years not valuing my time. Now, at almost 40, I do. I value every fucking minute that I have. Whether that be to work out, or to just relax, or to be with my family, or whatever that is. I value my fucking time. So if I give you a few hours of that, don't make me feel like an asshole at the end of the day. So I reach out to him. I say, hey, I have your plans all together. I think you should meet up, come over. I also want to show you a few supplements that I take. Maybe you can try the shake that I take, and yada, yada, yada. Okay, I'll come over. How's Thursday? Thursday's great. Wednesday comes, I check in with him. You know, we on for tomorrow, yada, yada. Yep. Thursday comes, I don't hear from him. I don't hear from him at all. Now, I don't reach out to him because I've been reaching out to him ever since he came to me for help. So now at this point, I almost kind of put it on him. You know, I'm like, if he's serious, he's going to reach out to me. Thursday comes, he doesn't reach out. Friday comes, he doesn't reach out. Saturday comes, crickets. Still hear nothing. That Sunday comes, and now I reach out to him. And I put, what the fuck happened? This is what he tells me. His response comes with excuses. Listen, I want to get through camping season, but I'm not making this shit up. I want to get through camp. I didn't know there was camping season, but I want to get through camping season. We have a wedding coming up. We all had this wedding that we were going to. We have this wedding coming up, and then we have the holidays coming up. I want to get through that first. My mind was fucking blown. Blown, honestly. Because what you just told me there in a few words was, I'm already completely out of shape and already came to you for help because I feel like I don't probably have much longer like this. But instead of kicking it up a fucking notch and really trying to get my health under control at the age he's a middle-aged guy, he's like, you know, a little 10 years older than me, really getting control of his life and really trying to like get the second half, you know, next 30 years or so, to where he's not in a hospital bed in the living room. But instead, he decided, I have to get through camping season, which is, listen, if you love camping, that's cool, that's fine, that's great. It's not for me. Let's think about what camping is. You know, I'm not talking about normal camping. I'm talking about you're hiking and you're doing all these fucking activities. 9 out of 10 people who go camping, that's not what you're doing. It's just not. I've been camping a million fucking times. It's literally how many people can you get and fit them around a fire, drinking nonstop for 2-3 days straight, eating like dog shit for 2 or 3 days straight, and then coming home on Monday or Tuesday or whatever. Which, in moderation, there's nothing wrong with that. To like get out and get away from the nonsense of what your life is, your day-to-day shit, and just kind of sit out there and look up at the stars. Nothing cooler than like, you know, it's midnight and you look up when you're out there camping at the stars. It's awesome. That part is awesome. The rest of the shit, I don't like it. Not anymore. But so think about that. You know, you're waking up and having 2 fucking burgers at 8 a.m. that are fatty fucking 80-20 beef loaded with fucking 6 pounds of cheese and a 300 calorie bun and bacon and all of this shit and the Cheetos that you pile on the fucking top of it, and you're eating 2 of those fuckers, washing it down with a fucking either a Coke or a beer or whatever. You're literally just waking up to 1,500 calories, 2,000 calories, like that. And that's to start your fucking day. And then it's not like you're going to go for a jog or a hike. You're going to get yourself together, you're going to shower or do whatever you got to do, or wash in the lake or whatever the fuck you do. And then you're going to sit your ass by that fire. You're going to put on fucking 70s rock or whatever. It's usually that. And you're going to start drinking. And you're going to drink into the night to 1, 2 a.m. And along the way, you're going to eat even more fucking nonsense. And by the end of the night, now it's 2 a.m. and you're smashed and you're literally 8,000 calories in for that day. You're going to wake the fuck up and you're going to rinse and repeat. And you're going to do that for 2 days or 3 days or 4 days or whatever. And you're coming out of the end of that week. Holy fuck. You're coming out of the end of that week, what? 30,000 calorie week that you just have 30,000 calorie 4 days, 40,000 calorie 4 days is fucking outrageous. It's outrageous. So doing that, he wanted to get through that. Okay. Wedding, yeah, you know, you're going to drink heavy, you're going to eat all kinds of shit. Understandable. Holidays, Thanksgiving coming up, obviously you're going to do the same. Christmas coming up, you're going to do the same. So I completely let that go and let him go and get through his camping season and get through the wedding and get through the holidays and all of that. Now we're sitting at mid-January. And look, this isn't a guy I talk to often, right? Like, I do consider him a friend, but it's not one of my close friends that I talk to, you know, daily or whatever. Me and him can easily go 2-3 months not talk, and that's normal. So come mid-January, I sent him a text. And all I said in the text was, imagine if you had started. That's all I said. And his response was, I know, man, ... Because he knows. He knows at that point, he would have been 6 months in to a fat loss phase, and he started at 397. He could have been down to 100 pounds, or he could have been down 100 pounds, sorry. Down to 100 pounds. People are like, fucking sign me up to whatever program you got. No. But in those 6 months, he could have been down 100 pounds. I know that sounds outrageous, and it's like 100 pounds, 6 months. When you're that size, it's not outrageous. It's not outrageous. This is why when you watch these 600-pound lives and 1,000-pound fucking whatevers, they can literally, the doctors would say, I want you to lose 70 pounds this month, 60 pounds this month. And what do they always say? Like, that's fucking outrageous. I can't do that. No, you can. Because if you just took the stairs every day at that size, you'll lose 20 fucking pounds that month. Like, that's a real reality. So when you go from 7,000, 8,000 calories, some of these people are eating 12,000 calories a day on that show, and you go all the way down to a 1,500 calorie diet, dude, the weight fucking pours off of you. Pours off of you. You can lose 50 pounds, 60 pounds, 70 pounds a month like that for at least the first 2 months. Now, will you plateau? Yeah. Now I'm talking about when you're 900 fucking pounds. So him being at 400 pounds in those 6 months, he could have lost 100 pounds. And yeah, he might have plateaued or right around 300 pounds, which is better than 400 pounds, okay? So now what are we looking at? Now we're January, mid-January, you're 300 pounds. Now you got to kick it up a notch. Now those little simple, easy workouts that I gave you that are easy to somebody maybe like me, but were pretty tough for you at 400 pounds, now they're not that tough for you anymore. Because now you just shed a whole fucking person, right? You're 100 pounds lighter now. Kick it up a notch. Now maybe we add in a little bit of strength training. Now you're doing curls, and maybe now you're doing a little bit of the bike and the treadmill and whatever. And it's not going to be over the next 6 months you lose another 100 pounds. It's just not going to be that way. It's going to be over the next 6 months you might go down another 25 or 30 pounds, which is still awesome. which is still awesome. So in a year's time of you just knocking out your shit, you went from 397 pounds to 275. That's a massive, massive difference. That's a massive difference on your mobility, on how you feel, on how you sleep, on the massive amounts of weight that you're putting on your heart every time you fucking lay down. I'm sure you're on a sleep apnea machine. I'm sure you're taking all kinds of blood pressure and this and that, and you're diabetic or you're pre-diabetic or you're something diabetic. All of that shit will be better within 1 year. Within 1 year of just easing the fuck back on everything that you do. Getting serious about your fitness. Working out. Making yourself uncomfortable. Right? And you're not making yourself uncomfortable for 24 hours a day. You're just not. Go in the fucking gym and get uncomfortable for an hour. It's not the end of the fucking world. You know, when you're sitting there and you're lifting and you're working it out and you're going, this hurts, like I'm in pain. No, you're not. No, the fuck you're not. You're in discomfort. You have some discomfort, but the second you rack and you're done, what happens? What happens 2 minutes after you rack? You're no longer hurt, right? Your arms that you thought were going to give out and they hurt so bad when you were doing it are fine now, and you're ready for your next set. Why? Because you weren't in pain. It didn't hurt. You were in discomfort. That's all. Be in fucking discomfort, because at the end of the day, discomfort is going to equal results. It's not pain. You'll get through it. So yeah, are you going to be really uncomfortable at 400 pounds? Your first fucking 2 months working out, is it going to really, really suck? Yeah, it is. It's going to suck real bad. It's going to fucking be terrible. You're going to be fucking dreaming about cheesecake every fucking night. You're going to watch a fucking commercial of a Whopper and you're going to fucking be drooling, and it's going to suck and you're going to hate it. 6 months from now, you're not going to hate it. A year from now, when you're 275 pounds, you're going to say, that was the best decision I ever made in my fucking life. Why was it the best decision you ever made in your life? Because you probably just added fucking 10 to 15 years to your life, if not more, in the quality of what those years are going to be. So you got to think of that kind of shit. My sister Misty, my oldest sister, has said to me, I don't know, in September, I think it was, we were at my niece's, her granddaughter, her birthday party. And she was talking about, you know, me looking good, Rach looking good, yada, yada, yada. And she's just like, I think at my age, it's like, what's the point? Now she's 51, maybe 52. And she was like, at my age, what's the point? Like, I've lived, whatever. And I said to her, but yeah, it was like, what quality of life do you want? What quality of life do you want? Especially her and my wife. They're nurses. They see this shit. Like, the stories my wife tells me, or like Misty will tell, my sister will tell me, about like these people who are 55 years old and they're fucking 400 pounds and they have sores all over their body because they're no longer mobile. It's fucking heartbreaking. It's sad. And a lot of them die quickly. You know, there's often times my wife will come home and be like, so-and-so died. And I'm like, how old were they? And she's like, 58. And I'm like, how the fuck did they die at 58? Well, they're 400 pounds and they lay in bed and piss and shit themselves all day, and they were doing that for fucking 5 years before they ended up coming here, and now they need nurses to come in and roll them every fucking hour so they don't get even more sores on them, and they have gaping wounds, and it's horrible. So what quality of life do you want? Now, my sister Misty is not huge by any means, but do you want to be really, really sore and really, really slow and maybe the hospital bed in the living room at 65, 70? Or do you want to be financially pretty good because you already set that up? You had no problem hitting those goals. But now you're taking jogs at 70. You and your husband, or you and your wife are taking fucking jogs every morning at 70, like with your dog. Like, to me, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. If me and my wife can get to 70 and we're waking up every morning and we're stretching and we're getting the dog ready and me and her are going on a jog every morning and we're retired and things are okay, that's what I want. Hopefully in Florida, and then I can go golf. That's what I want. And that's what everybody should want. So anyway, having that conversation with Misty, now fast forward like 3-4 months, at Christmas dinner, possibly, she had talked about me getting a program for her together. Hey, can you get me some, you know, maybe it clicked in her mind. And, you know, she's smart. She's a smart fucking person. And she's she's a realist. She's realistic. I think she started thinking about it like, yeah, maybe he's right. Like, maybe me and Dave being my brother-in-law, cool ass guy, bigger guy, was always a bigger guy. Maybe we should get into better shape for the later parts of our life, right? Dave, I think, just turned 60 maybe, but he looks good for his age. You know, he's a bigger guy, but he was always kind of an active guy. But yeah, now they're taking, so I drew up a plan for her and for Dave and gave that to them. And I haven't checked in. I'm hoping she's doing it or whatever. And I think our mom has something to do with that too, because, you know, our mom is in her 70s, and everyone who sees her or is around her, like my daughter, will be around her grandmother and go, she just doesn't seem like a woman in her 70s. She's so, like, spunky and moves well. And listen, my mom's been through the fucking ringer. Like, anyone who knows mom, she's had numerous fucking surgeries. She's had open heart fucking surgery. She has been a lifetime smoker and all of that. Now, she wasn't a drinker ever, and she didn't really eat too poorly throughout her life, mainly because we were fucking poor. You couldn't, but poor back then wasn't like poor today. You know, most of obese people today are the poor people. We won't get into that, but anyway, she always kind of ate like a fucking bird to begin with, but had a lot of issues. But throughout, as long as I can remember, okay, in my 39 years on this fucking earth, my mom would work out. She would work out. She would put her fucking little attire on, and her, I don't remember the lady's name, Jane Fonda possibly is her fucking name, in the goddamn VCR when we had VCRs. She'd move the coffee table, and you would wake up at 9:30 in the morning, and you would come downstairs, and you would hear the music going, and you would see mom doing her aerobics, doing her fucking thing, and she would be like, everybody disappear for fucking 2 hours because me and Jane Fonda are gonna kick ass. And she did that my whole life, my whole fucking life, to this day. Like, she's the type of person, like, go down and be on the elliptical, and that's just what she does. So for all the trauma her body took over the years, people still can't believe she's in her 70s. It makes sense. It makes, and she still doesn't think like she's in shape. But for her age, there's 55-year-olds who can't move even close to as well as my mother in her 70s. It's just true. It's just true. She's helping out an aunt of ours who's a few years younger than her, who is almost to this point not mobile at all. And she has like the nerve to say things to my mom like, you don't know what it's like. And my mom's like, been through fucking a million surgeries, not to mention fucking had 6 kids and yada yada yada. So when you think of like the Vinny Superman thing that Vin's got going for him that he's kind of always had, it's like he probably gets some of that from mom, because I don't know a stronger woman in my life. Never met a stronger woman than her in my life. So the apple didn't fall far from the fucking tree when it came to Vin. Now me, easy street, easy road, right? Whole fucking life until I couldn't anymore. That was the different routes me and Vin took. Vin was just like hard fucking core, man, from a young age. Anything he did, he fucking did it 110%. And that's kind of how mom is. To where me, it's like, can I cut this corner and just get there even faster than going this route? That was me, 100%. Until later in life, it changed somehow, some way. I'm sure Rach had something to do with that. I'm sure my kids had something to do with that. I'm sure the fact of being scared that I'm gonna just die has something to do with that. But you need to find your fucking thing. You got to find your fucking thing that's gonna kickstart you, give you a kick in the ass to get you fucking going. And I don't care if you're 500 pounds or if you're 200 pounds or if you're 150 pounds and you just feel like shit. If you feel like shit, there's a fucking reason for it. There's a reason for it. Maybe the reason's depression and all that. I'm not diving into any of that shit. But if you are depressed, if you don't think going to the gym, making your appearance better, getting healthier, making your overall feel better isn't going to help depression, you're fucking crazy. You're crazy. It absolutely will help that, because you start looking better and feeling better, you start moving better, you got more of a fucking swag to you. Maybe you thought you were worthless and you've just been laying around and you feel like shit, and that's all depression. But then you start get going, right? Motivation, you get going, you start doing all that shit, and now you start feeling good. Now you're flexing in the mirror, and you're fucking maybe buying a new outfit, and you're talking to the new girl or the new guy or the whatever. That shit matters. It matters for up here, and it absolutely matters for your overall health. Be stronger than your excuses, is all I'm saying. It'll be hard, it'll be rough, it'll be worth it.